It's, I believe, the second time that we're back with our amazing host, Craftsing, after a great, amazing edition last year. And it also really pleases me to see such a lovely crowd and so many familiar faces. But just to get an idea, like, who is here for the first time? All right, so quite some new people, so that's great. So for you, before we get into the lineup, I also want to first present our presentation, the host, and everyone who makes this possible. So a little bit about us. We are UX Belgium. We are a networking organization made by and made for UX people. We know, and most of you can testify, I think, that UX is not the most easy job in the world, but that's why it's so important, and that's why we also think it's so important to have a space where people can connect with each other, where people can support each other, and where we can create a platform where people can learn new things from each other. So, and that's what we try to do. And actually, that's what we've been doing for a long time already. We already started back in 2011. What started out as an idea in a bar and actually ended up becoming an organization of more than 4,000 people strong. And Antwerp is still our home base, and we still love it very much here, but we also expanded to other parts of Belgium in the meanwhile. So besides Antwerp, we're also active in Brussels right now, where we try to meet up every quarter. And since this year, we have also started in Hasselt, where we also are trying to do one every quarter. We try to do it we did it every third Wednesday so far, but we're still kind of working on the date rules over there. So, but that's a little bit about us. Now, what is also about us, and that's also what really pleases me, is that we are really growing as an organization. So we already had Aurel and Galina as doing their first event last month, and this month I'm also happy to announce we have 4 bright new faces that you will see around here. We have Lisa, who's here with us tonight. We have Erika, Paulo, and Oksana, who will also be helping more with the communications and making our events a bit more special. So please give them a warm introduction. And I think what we hope defines us is that we want to be an open organization for everyone. So if you feel like you also want to contribute to creating kind of these networking events, these moments of connections, these places where other UX professionals can learn, you can also always join us. We always want to be open for people who are motivated to do something more for the UX community next to their normal day job. Why should you do that? There are a couple of things you can learn. I've myself learned a lot doing the management part of this. Besides managing, you can also help in the communication, you can help on the events. There are many different ways you can contribute with us in a way that is flexible to you. But most important, it's to give you that intrinsically rewarding feeling of being able to do something with this. So if any one of you feel interested, you can always chat us up afterwards, so we're always open to that. But what's also very important, besides volunteers, is of course amazing hosts like Craftsing who make all of this possible. It is through our partnerships that we are able to make events like these. And while we already have a whole collection of great partners that we work with, we're also always open to look for new opportunities of collaboration and for new places to show their thought leadership in UX. And if you feel that's you, if you feel like that could be your team, that could be your organization, and you also want to create an evening where you can connect with many eager professionals, you can also always hit us up. We're always looking for places in Antwerp, Brussels, and Hasselt. And last but not least, of course, this is of course about network and connecting, but we also want you to be inspired. And for you to be inspired, we always need new speakers. And maybe some of us try to set the bar so high when they think about speakers, but I think every one of you has a story to tell. I think there's so many things you can share, whether it is about some niche knowledge, some situation you had at work, or just something about UX that you geek out on. There are so many things to talk about, and we want to create a platform for that. There are no entry requirements. We don't ask you to have this amount of years of experience. We don't want you to have this kind of title. The only thing we ask is that you have the courage to step up right here and take up the mic, and that's it. And we're particularly looking for more speakers in the fall in Antwerp, Brussels, in Hasselt. So if you feel like you have something burning to tell with the community, also feel free to hit us up. And we want to create this event, we want to create a place where you can all get connected, but we also don't want the conversation to end here. So that's why we also have a UX Belgium Slack space. It is the space for professionals where you can find everything, whether it is new jobs, whether it is some help you need for a particular thing in your job, whether it is some quirky humor that only UX designers understand. You find it all in our Slack space. So you can scan the QR code or you can go over to our site. So, and I hope you join the conversation. Then that's all a bit about us. This brings us to our amazing host of today. Craftsing is one of the big agencies here in Antwerp, and we're here in their amazing office. And there's a lot to tell about them, and we have someone from the organization who is going to tell us a bit more. So I'm sorry, I forgot the name. Martijn, could you tell us? Yeah.
It's very funny to see that picture because it's quite an old picture, and I think the picture now on the website is probably contains twice as much people nowadays than there.
Yeah, it really went well with the purple.
Yeah, I can imagine. I also made the slide, but I think our brand designer is going to kill me, so you did a very good or a better job than me. But we are 150 professionals already, and Craftsing is basically a business partner. We try to help KMO's, big enterprises with whatever big question they throw at us. So we don't claim to have all answers. We try to figure together with them, try to figure out what the actual problem is they have, how we can tackle that problem, what team they need to be able to tackle that problem, and look together to find a solution. So we are really working in partnership with our clients, very client intimate. So yeah, that's basically it, I think. Maybe yeah. And yeah, these solutions are oftentimes big platforms, big websites, big applications. So that's it.
Thanks a lot, Martijn. So we're almost there for the lineup for tonight, but first we still want to thank two sponsors, two amazing companies who make all of these events possible in the first place. The first one is their sponsor, Creative Skills. So what is Creative Skills? It is the Belgian job platform for Belgian creative professionals. So whether it is that you do code, whether it is what you do writing or designing, or a combination of the three, whatever you have, if you're a creative professional Creative Skills has all the jobs you need. They are really niching down on this for the Belgian market, and they also have quite some offers that you don't find on your regular LinkedIn. So if you're looking for a new adventure, be sure to have a look at Creative Skills. Our second sponsor, who also provides a lot of support, is Ariat. Ariat is one of the leading recruiting and staffing agencies in Belgium. They've grown very big, but despite growing big, they also still kept the very human, the human touch actually when it comes to recruiting. They're really looking toward what you can bring and what your career ambitions are, and they really are interested in creating win-win situations with you and your skills and with the client needs at the other side. And this long-term vision of recruiting has really been helping them grow to the size they are today. So if you're looking for something new, if you're just looking for career advice or whatnot, be sure to have a look with them. They're always happy to help. This brings us to the lineup for tonight. The first part we are going to talk, we will have Martijn again. He's going to talk about a very, very important subject that I think, all know too well by now. And we know it all too well, but I can only say for me, it still feels a bit like the Wild West out, trying to get this integrated into our ways of working. And Martijn is going to show us a little bit about his hands-on experiments and what we can learn from that. For the second part, we have a very original topic actually. So it's, my mom always told me that laziness was bad, but as our second speaker will tell, lazy can actually be something good, and it can actually be something that we can leverage to create effect into design. And I think we're all curious to learn how that's gonna look like. So that's what Roel gonna bring. Without further ado, we can get started, and for that I want to give the word to Martijn. So.
Is the mic working well? All right, super. Yes. So I made this presentation in Miro. I thought it was the easiest way to convey the message today. But basically, who am I? Martijn. I'm working at Craftsing. I'm a business and concept designer. What's in a name? But basically, yeah, I operate on gut feeling and good intentions, I think, as a lot of us. Do I have all the knowledge? No. But I like to experiment with new tools, new ideas, new concepts, and so on. And AI is one of those things. We see it all around us. There are a lot of people talking about AI, but it's oftentimes very hard to actually implement AI or use it in your daily work. Maybe a little anecdote, but I use ChatGPT quite a lot, like very, very much. I use it for everything in my daily life. A couple of days ago, I had problems with a water pump to pump up rainwater. It wasn't working anymore, so I take a picture and ask ChatGPT, what do I need to do? and I get an answer, and a good answer. And that's basically the thing that triggers you. You use it in everyday life and you get good answers. And you start to ask yourself, if I use this in my job, will I get good answers as well? So that is important. I did a little experiment because it's quite a hot topic in the company too. Maybe a little context about the experiments. It's oftentimes very hard when you need to start a new project, and especially when you start a lot of projects simultaneously. And it's oftentimes in domains and industry you are not familiar with. You're just thrown into the water and you need to swim. And I noticed before using AI, it was oftentimes very hard to get up and running, to get up to speed with a client or a topic and so on. So I hope the AI could help me in that way. Also, you don't always have a lot of access to stakeholders and end users. They oftentimes don't have a lot of times. We had a small conversation about design sprints earlier this evening, like 5 weeks, 5 days. Who's available for 5 days in their agenda? So you have very little access to these people. And oftentimes a project has big ambitions, but maybe not the biggest budget. So how can we leverage the time you have to output the best results? And that's basically the main question I had. How can we use AI to get the most of our time, knowledge, and resources, basically? And to stress this is not a step-by-step, and this is not something you can just copy and follow. But I think it's frameworks and ways of thinking that are important today. Maybe a little bit about constraints. We work in a big organization, and you want to avoid complexity and costs, subscription costs. You can't subscribe to every tool out there. Every tool costs quite some money. So that is a constraint. Another constraint is that you want to know what you are doing. For example, you can use an AI tool and feed data into an AI tool and get something out of it, but you don't know how it works. What the mechanics are behind the tool that spits out these results for you. So that was for me an important thing to know how it works and how I can manipulate it. Another thing maybe to talk about is philosophy. Something that Jeff Bezos says, because a quote needs to be in a presentation, is if you're 70% sure, go ahead. And we don't need to wait until we have all research perfectly fine. The moment your gut feeling says I'm in the right direction and I have the feeling that what I am doing is not the complete opposite of what I think we need to go into, you just need to jump. And that's also the thing with AI. You oftentimes hear, yeah, AI can hallucinate, and it's not always 100% right, but you need to ask yourself the question, does it need to be? It's especially when you start on a project, it's often the blank slate, the white paper. That's a very hard moment, and if you can have a jump start, even with 70% right, you are already far ahead of what you might be otherwise. I used the process on a rather small project, and it always starts with a kickoff and a client brief. And they basically had a short-term goal. We want to create and validate a concept and address the challenges in the platform we have today. So they already have some type of platform that we need to improve. It's basically a well-being platform that wants to make employees in the food industry move more or be healthier by moving. And they had a basic platform, but again, you get thrown into a project, health industry, food industry. I don't have affinity with the food industry. The other thing is like a moving platform. What does it mean, a moving? We all know Strava maybe, and platforms like that. Do I need to consider things like that? So basically, the very first step I took there is doing research, desk research. And maybe to step back a little bit, concerning desk research, what did I use as tools is Google Gemini was one of the tools. Perplexity was one of the tools. ChatGPT, and especially O3 reasoning, very important because of the context window. If you are going to work with lots of data, you need to have a big context window, otherwise it will forget at the end of the conversation what it said earlier. That's quite important, and Claude was one of the four. But I basically started with Google Gemini and especially Deep Research. And for those who haven't used it yet, you see a nice emoji. This is quite, for me and for people who want to learn, quite liberating. You can ask a question like, I want to build a moving platform, a health platform for the food industry. Can you do research about it? Very simple question. It's not elaborate, but the thing is, it's going to come up with a research plan. It's going to have a bulleted list of, first I'm going to investigate specific physical and mental health risk in the food industry. So it really makes a plan of what to research. And you can evaluate that plan, and you can steer that plan. You can adjust the plan and with extra prompts say, no, I'm more looking into that direction or that direction. It will update the plan. And when you do this, you can say, start research. What does this give you? And that's quite interesting. What does this give you? That is a really in-depth research report. And with in-depth, I mean 30, 35 pages about the topic. It's really, really elaborate. If I really scroll really fast, this is really a report, tables, everything you need about the topic, all with references of websites it used and so on. You also see one tool I started to use quite a lot is Digital Marker. You get so much information that you really need to use Digital Marker to highlight the things that stand out for you. And that is one of the things you see me doing here, and what AI is very, very good at is basically data expansion. You start with nothing and you expand. And that's one of the drawbacks. You can a lot of data can be thrown at you, like a lot. It spits out data, super relevant, but a lot. So basically, it's insanely fast. It can take up to 30 minutes before you get an answer. So it doesn't feel as insanely fast, but considering if you need to do all of this yourself, it's gonna take days, maybe weeks to come up with this. What we also did is just share it with stakeholders. We don't hold it back like, oh, we have this little nuggets of information. We just share it and say, if you have the time, read the report, because the things that are in here are super, super valuable, even for them. I made 2 reports, a platform for the health industry, but also a report or a research question, like what might be the mechanics in such a platform? What are all the drivers? What engages people in health platforms, well-being platforms to take action, to start to move, to have the community feeling, and so on. So you can not only research about industries, but also about topics that are relevant for the project you are working on. So that gives you quite a deep dive. We took it even further on another project. I won't go too much into detail about this, but what you see here is generated in a couple of days. And what you see here is competitor analysis of 7 competitors, full report of all the competitors, weaknesses, strengths, things they focus on, target audiences, and so on. What you also see here is process flows of all these competitors. Like these are SaaS products. Like, what is the complete process flow of their SaaS product? Like customer journey. So you see it's a lot of text. That is also a thing. Like all these tools spit out text. You need to see past this, because the things that are in here are broken down process flows. We made them visual, so it's more understandable, and you can see it at a glance how it works, but you can get so much information out of this. Also, target audiences in comparable tables. We know their needs. We know their top task. We know their frustrations, the gaps that there are. This is starting from a blank slate. In 2 days, take it a week, you get this. And this is an amazing start for a project that otherwise would take weeks, or maybe you wouldn't even have the time to have access to this. So it's really data expansion, you can call this. So basically from the research from the health platform, what also helps is, and I write it here, deep conversational. So we have in Gemini Deep Research, we get a report, but then we start. We need to condense this information, writing down platform vision, platform mission, the target audiences, the challenges that are there. We need to be crystal clear. And that is another thing that things like ChatGPT and Gemini can help you with, is write very clear briefs for yourself. I can't write this good, absolutely not. And it makes you think more clear. So you can use it as a sparring partner. I don't know how you guys form your ideas. I do it by conversation. I need to talk to people, and by talking to people, I form ideas, I form insights, I form direction, and see, indeed, maybe this direction I need to go. This is a compass. AI allows me to do it at home. Allows me to have a conversation, have the sparring partner, and enlighten me and make the brain work. It's very good at synthesizing findings. That is, instead of expanding AI data, it's condensing data, write very clearly, but it also can help you prioritize. What do I need to focus on first? And that is something that helps you a lot. For example, we had 3 main target audience. The question is, which target audience are we going to focus on? We need to make a prototype, but you know, you can't make a prototype for every target audience and attack every possible flow there is. You need to prioritize which challenge are we going to tackle for which audience, and which flow are we going to tackle. It helps you tremendously in that process. We also show this to stakeholders. We go through this because, again, AI doesn't need to be 100% right. It can be 70% right, as long as you align with your team, align with stakeholders, go to the platform mission, platform vision. Is this right? Is this clear enough? Does everybody understand this? Target audiences, are these the target audiences, and are these the problems we are trying to solve? So in that regard, it helps a lot. So you see priorities, principles, super hard. Ask ChatGPT, come up with principles, and start a conversation. You can build them. Other things, like supporting topics for the health platform, for example, is like physical activity, good nutrition. What are all the mechanics I need to take in consideration? Motivation, mechanisms, different levels of participation. These are all things that help you think about when trying to understand it. Now, once you are aligned with stakeholders, again, you can, through deep conversation, have solutions. You can generate solutions. It's very good and it generates solutions. It's again a back and forth. It's solutions. You see it tied to target audience, tied to the challenges that are there. You also see importance and the potential. You can use ChatGPT to just throw out numbers. Is it correct? Maybe not, but you already have like a good idea of, yeah, maybe if you look at it, priorities are right. And you can use it to generate for a specific target audience, a specific challenge. You can create the happy flow that you want to make your prototype around. This is basically a happy flow. This is quite long. And for every step in the happy flow, we have also focus points. Again, all generated with just ChatGPT or Google Gemini. These are not specific tools. What is hard, it's the prompting. Prompting is very hard. The reason it's very hard, and it's quite interesting, I just, when I drove to Antwerp this morning, I listened to a podcast about AI. And it's basically the analogy. In the early days of computers, you had even cards with little holes in. These were the programs. And then you had programming languages. They were very simple, but they evolved, being more and more complex. And the most recent programming languages are very natural. There's a lot of natural language in them. Now we took a step further and we made it natural language. So prompting is basically code. It's basically software. If you prompt or make a prompt, you make a little piece of software. It's just not in the coding language that we are used to, but it's really a new language in which we are trying to make these platforms understand what we want as output. Now, this is basically data expansion, this whole part. Now, we take it a little bit further. We are making prototypes. The prototypes we made was by using Bolt. Maybe you heard of Bolt, maybe you heard of Lovable. They are all a little bit the same. They are basically prototyping platforms that claim that you can, by natural language, create working, coded prototypes. Lovable, Replit, we use Bolt. And basically the goal there is again to quickly create a prototype that feels real and intuitive and interactive. And what is also the thing, as a UX designer, you are used to work, for example, in Figma or any other tool, and you are doing very manual work, and you're always wondering, is this the best route I took? Is this the best path? Is this the best solution? They can surprise you quite a lot. The ideas that come out of these programs or software tools. Now, not necessarily for this, the concept could be very rough, because the next step is concept testing for us. And we basically want to know, are we going in the right direction with the solutions for a certain target audience? So we don't user test this, we concept tested this. So it's black and white, it's very rough around the edges. But again, we made this in a couple of days. One of the things is, when you start using tools like this, it feels like magic. You give a prompt, I want to make a well-being health platform for the food industry, hopla. And it creates something. But the next steps are very, very hard. And you need to have a different mindset when using these tools, because the initial prototype gives you a wow feeling, but trying to adjust and steer the prototype in the right direction, that is incredibly hard. It's so hard that you sometimes want to give up. And it's because of different reasons. I don't know who has a ChatGPT subscription. You pay $20 and you can basically use it indefinitely without much restrictions. If you use a platform like this, you also pay $20 a month, but you get 10 million tokens. So you give $20 to get credit back. But you can get in loops, indefinite loops. You ask something, this is not right. It tries to change something, but it changed nothing. And you see your credits like dropping like crazy. This can cost you a lot of money if you don't approach it the right way. And what is approaching it the right way? It's really writing out a product requirements document, step by step, and tackling everything you want to create step by step. Every little thing you need to approach like contained and build logic upon that. But like saying, I want this app, and it's going to feel like magic, but when you try to adjust things, it's a horror. Maybe I didn't try it. Figma Make might be better. Figma Make is, I think, in beta right now. What might make it better is that you can design in Figma and adjust on the designs. You still have, I think, more control. You don't have much control unless you are a developer. That's another story. You can do a lot more. Now, the next step we took is basically taking screenshots of all the screens in the prototype. We upload the screenshots, and we basically tell ChatGPT make us a test script. based on the screenshots. I don't do concept tests, user tests daily, constantly, but from what I can say, this test script was spot on. It didn't change a thing about the test script. So it recognizes all the different parts in your application. It recognizes all functionality in your application, and it makes a test script piece by piece, flow by flow, and very relevant questions based on your prototype. So that again, you can use ChatGPT or any tool for. What you can also use it for is obviously to write your invite emails for test users. All these things you can write. What we then did is Google Meet meeting recordings and use MacWhisper for transcripts. So basically you can put your recordings into MacWhisper. For those who don't know, it runs locally on your computer. You can just drop videos in the tool and it's going to transcribe. You can also choose your model. And why do I use MacWhisper? Because it's changing so fast, but when we used it, Dutch was a very difficult language to transcribe. But again, it's already tools like Granola, for example, already transcribe very well in Dutch, but not at the time. And basically, when you have your transcripts, you hit the jackpot then. You have everything you need. And that is basically arching story here. If you have a transcript, I did a lot of concept tests and a lot of user tests the past months. You can automate this. You can automate everything about this. You can, from the transcript, create agents. It's basically, in Google Gemini, you have gems. It's a little bit like GPTs. You can do sentiment analysis on your transcripts. And you will get a full report, the positives, the negatives about the concept, all points there. But this is a black box. If you will use a GPT like the one in Google Gemini, you don't know how it came to the results. So I tried also to use ChatGPT 03. Basically say, as a product designer, you need to report on your concept tests, what's the most effective structure. That is already a priming question. I don't ask for a report, I ask for the best structure for the report. You can do this with everything in the whole process, even in the researching process. And that's also a very nice thing. If you don't know a certain method or activity or workshop format or so, you can ask for it and have a breakdown of that and learn a new skill. You can convert the report to outline. So if you have the structure, you can ask, write a prompt for this. And if you have that prompt, you can apply the prompt on your transcriptions and you will get a very elaborate output, like how the concept test was run, the scenarios and tasks, all the teams that are there, the methodology, how you categorize, certain forms of coding your themes and so on, use of quotes, quantifying if possible, structure and insights. You get a huge report out of it. And by using it a lot, you really see that this is an opportunity. You can decide as a team what the desired output is, because that's also a strategy for using AI. Like deciding what is the exact output we want. Like if we have a user interview, how do we want the report to look like? And if you know that, you can work backwards. You can say, okay, what would be the prompt that is needed to get that output? Because the most important thing about this is you want consistency in your team. You want every report to be the same. And that's the huge challenge using AI models, is to have consistent output. And if you can decide as a team on this output, write and test prompts as a teams on the models you know, define your workflow, you can automate this. You can say, this is my repository. If a video drops in that folder on the drive, you automatically need to check if a video is posted there, automatically make a transcript of it, make a sentiment analysis, profile it, and so on. And that is basically what you see a trend in the market, is basically dedicated tools are jumping into the gaps there. Convio is a tool like this. Maybe some of you already encountered this. This is fully automated user interviews. Even the user interviews are automated by AI. It means that you can automate it. If you find the right prompts for the right outputs and the right reports, you can automate this process. And it leaves us a lot more time to focus on the actual interviews. You can basically, maybe, it's an assumption that user interviews are qualitative. Maybe you can make it quantitative by just focusing on the interviews and see a lot more people in the time you have available, and let all this thing being automated. Now, maybe to close, just a few hours before the presentation, I also used Notebook LM. And one of the reasons I use Notebook LM, it's from Google too. How it works, you can put all your transcripts into Notebook LM, and it's going to use your transcripts as source material. The reason I started to use it is because all these reports that I got from Gemini, ChatGPT, they were all very fancy. And they were spot on, but something made me uncomfortable. And it was, one of the users in the interview had mentioned Fitcoins, and it is a government initiative for the food industry. It's like rewarding people with Fitcoins when they had a healthy lifestyle. And not one of the reports I came across Fitcoins. So the reports were all spot on, but I somehow lacked depth and detail. And that depth and detail I got in Notebook LM. Because somehow, and that is again black box, all the rest all the other reports I could create with my own prompts. This is black box. I don't know what Notebook LM does somehow, but the output is far beyond everything I had for user interviews or concept tests than the other tools. And it's basically, it creates a whole visual map of all your transcripts you have. You can select the topics that interest you. And in Notebook LM, I found in my final report the topic about the Fitcoins. And it was spot on in the right category and the right theme. And that again comes back to trust. Do you miss details when using AI? Do you need to be considerative about the output? I think so. You need to be director, and you need to be human in the loop to really challenge the output. And if something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And this confirmed my suspicion I had with the output. Could I go further with the output? Perfectly. But this confirmed that details matter. And what made this absolutely fantastic is you can chat with your transcripts. So if you are not sure if something, or you recall someone saying something somewhere, you can ask for it and it will bring it up. And it will also reference, like all the little icons are references to the actual transcripts with the actual quotes of the people. So that was basically the test. I'm going to use AI a lot more, definitely. This was from white page until prototype and having test reports and every step of the way AI used. So.
All right. That was, yeah, you definitely triggered me to explore a lot more, I can say. We have still a couple more room for a couple more questions, but I first want to kick off one question in the beginning. So you mentioned, and I think it's also good philosophy to have, like AI can generate a lot of good things and maybe some parts, yeah, that are not so good, but 70% is already a lot. But what was your strategy to find out what are the things that AI absolutely has to nail in a project, and do you still trust the AI completely in that, or do you feel like I need to double check this myself?
Maybe trusting AI or untrusting AI. It changes very rapidly. And a couple of months ago, I already experimented with the user interview transcripts. I wasn't super happy about them then, but that is only a couple of months ago. And the quality now is a lot better than I had then. So it moves incredibly fast. So the quality gets better and better. And I always tell myself, the output I get now is the worst output I will ever get. And that is some perspective that, yeah, if that is an answer to the question.
Yeah. Yeah, it does clarify some things. Are there any other questions from the audience? Yes.
So to go back about the little story about the fit coins, that was a detail that you missed in the process, even though you feed it back to the AI and in the end it detected it, from what I understand. My question is also about trust. Are you not afraid that at some point, when the process is going to be satisfying for you and you're going to give it full trust, that over time, you're going to pay less attention to the result, you will have less control of the output, basically we will become lazy, totally trusting the thing, and missing some very important key that could lead over time to a reduced quality of work?
Absolutely, I think so. That also spurs the question of, do you as a team need to have full control over the prompting behind the scenes? Because it might be the same question if, are you going to use SaaS tools, for example, that do everything for you and trust whatever company is putting behind the scenes in the black box? Are you going to trust that company? Are you going to trust the prompting and the instructions behind it and the output it gives? Or are you going to want as a team to be able to control the prompt and the instructions and the output, so you can frequently assess the output. But it's yeah, very right. What we are probably are going to become lazy. I don't have the answer to that. I really don't have that. Yeah.
Right. Reza, yeah, you had one more.
Actually, it's more than one question, but I will ask one of them and ask another ones in the break. And by the way, in that time, I rewrite all of my question with GPT. The first one is how do you control the security of data of the client? Because I faced with it many times. For example, Notebook LM. Exactly, they mentioned we don't use the data to train. But when you go to the privacy and policy, you see they said, we don't use it to train that model, but we use it to train, like, these days it's not really popular to put some rules like this in the contract, but I'm sure in the future clients get more like obsessed about the security of the data, because many people put like a lot of employees put the data in free versions, and some of even a premium version train with that data. And some of them, like the interview and another one, are really not really, but they're confidential. How do you handle the security? Like I don't know, in the contract or somewhere else?
Not at the moment. And that's really a legit question. Also, in our company, it's coming up because every individual is using tools. Are they indeed GDPR, or do they consider user data? We as a company use the Google Suite, so we can basically use the tools within that suite. Concerning the interviews, I try to anonymize them in ChatGPT. I don't mention like names and everything. So data might be trained, but not without user data. So that's another thing. Do you have people's names? Do you post them and put them in the tools? But it's a legit concern. It's the same like Bolt, Lovable, Replit. Lovable is European, I think. We also got a question, why did you use Bolt and not Lovable? Because Lovable is European and might be more secure. But these are all very legit questions that probably will have a tighter control within companies too, absolutely.
Right. Unfortunately, we don't have more time for questions, but if you still would have a question, feel free to speak to Martijn. Martijn, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And also thank you for the insightful questions. So it might be a risk that we might get lazy, but that brings us to the next topic where we're gonna learn how to be lazy by design. So that's all good. So, but before that, we have first pause until 8:15. So we'll see you back in a quarter. So have some drinks, have some conversation. after talks about the first topic. And now we're going to the second topic. And I'm not going to say a lot about it. I think Roel is going to change our opinion about laziness and how it gets used in design. So Roel, please tell us more.
Do I need to attach this one?
Sorry.
All right. So yeah, that is my name. I'm Roel. I'm a designer myself, I guess, like most of you guys. This event is called UX Beers. I am a UX designer, but not only a UX designer. I work at Monkshot as a UI UX designer. UI is my main job. Next to that, I'm a freelance print and brand designer. As a student, I followed the graphic design course, so it's basically the more general terms of design. And then as a volunteer, I am a musician in an orchestra, where I also do the brand design and stage design. So it's a really broad aspect of design. To start my talk about being lazy or being smart, let's keep that in the middle for now. I would start at my school time. Okay. So it started for me here at the Sint Luciardi School. I really liked the logo even then. At first sight, everything was perfect. I was a toddler. I was very good at playing, drawing, painting, all stuff like that. All good. It was all good until I needed to learn to write and read. Because I rather just wanted to keep drawing, painting, stuff like that. And this is the very moment my bad experience with school started in general. And to illustrate that, I looked up my school result, or my very first school result. Voila. Basically setting rules writing is inaccurate. He often leaves out letters or parts of them. And he can do a lot better. Actually, 15 out of 20, I don't think it's that bad. I would kill for that later, but okay. So my writing is a problem. Anyone knows what this is? So they fixed me this tool as a 5 or 6 year old. It's basically a plastic dolphin. It's a writing aid to help you hold your pencil the right way to write. And you need to stick your pencil anally into the dolphin like this. And then it forces you to hold your pencil the right way. So this was gonna help me to write a lot better. Sadly, not the result we all hoped for, because the next result was Roel is pushing way too hard on his pencil. He's taking everything way too easy, and his work attitude needs to change. So after 6 years of struggling, it was crystal clear that art school would be my thing. So I started at St. Lucas Antwerp, full of confidence. I started secondary school there, and soon my main focus was figuring out how to complete all exercises as soon as possible, and as fast as possible, and as easy as possible, and as quickly as possible. And as an example, one of the tasks I get there was in Photoshop class. We get this portrait of a writer, in this case Stephen King, and we needed to digitally manipulate the portrait using only punctuation marks, so commas or hyphens or dashes, commas for the eyes or brackets for the mouth, stuff like that. And my first question was, why would I do it in Photoshop instead of Illustrator? But it needs to be done in Photoshop. So I was immediately I asked, how can I do it so as fast as possible? And my first thing what I did is went to the filters menu, pixelate, color halftone, and voila, my portrait was ready. It's made full of out of dots, and that are punctuation marks, and also my score on that task was very circular as well. So after 6 years of making myself really popular at school, it was time for college. And in college I went to the Karel de Grote Hogeschool, also St. Lucas, where I started the study of graphic design. I think most of you know when the word graphic design pops up at people you know, hell breaks loose, and before I knew, I was spending most of my time designing wedding invitations for like Ellen en Ruben, Ineke, Stefan, Karen, Chris, Lena, Rudy, Lisbeth and Dirk, Sarah and Dries, and a lot more couples. And then as soon as they were married, they started to have children, and then I made cards for a lot of kids. Voila. A lot more babies. And then when they were bored making babies, they all started companies. And I made logos for a lot of companies for friends. Like this one, very nice. Actually, quite a fun. But yeah, I'm studying, so I can't or I need to spend my time not only making logos. Of course, I need to divide my time between different things. So next to that, I organized parties. Voilà. And we made the point of it to make it very nice parties with unnecessary amounts of decorations, which I designed as well. The audience was going wild, and then we, for the orchestra, I started to make stages as well, or design stages. Voila, voila, voila. Super fun to do together with friends, but till today I still design these stages. I think I did 25 of them by now. Me was very happy, clients were very happy, the audience was very happy. The only ones that weren't so happy were my teachers. In fact, they were really good teachers, as I know for now, not so much then. But they were a little bit frustrated, of course, because they didn't see me a lot. And at last I graduated, and the comment on my degree was, I think said it all, it was een efficiënte combinatie van slimme luiheid. In English, it's an efficient combination of smart laziness. And that, from that point, I was like, yeah, of course I knew better. I wasn't lazy. I think my time priorities were a little bit different. And I started working, and along the way, I figured out how to use this combination in a good way. Or at least in a way that others found acceptable. Most important, being lazy or being smart, lazy, or the combination isn't about how can I work less. That's really the lazy side. It's more about how can I work faster or more easy or more efficient. And I have 6 advices that I use in my work attitude that I wouldn't recommend just to follow. But for me, it works, and yeah, it's just, you can see what you do with it. But advice 1 is, when doing a job, try to narrow down the problem. That's what I did at school most of the time, try to narrowing down the problem. And one example where we did it is for Skill. Skill is a power tool brand. Anyone heard of Skill yet? It's not the biggest brand in Belgium, but they are really big in the US. In fact, they are the inventors of this circular saw, and that's why in America it's called a skill saw. So they are big in the US and growing in Europe. And we had the opportunity to rebrand their website. Their current website was like, yeah, very typical power tool look and feel, with all the dust and men's working and big bold fonts and stuff like that. And what they want was in their new vision, they would wanted to lose the manly power tool style, and they wanted more to be more like Polestar or Sonos. So it's totally different, very clean, very wide. For us, it was like it's totally different in terms of styling on the spectrum. But Skill is a demanding client. We don't want to disappoint them, so we started thinking about it. And first thing we did is, if we look at a job, we see a lot of tasks that need to be done. We have the power style versus minimalism problem. They had a major multi-language problem. The site contained 30 languages or something in 4 different scripts. We did an information architecture, we did the wireframe, concept design, detailed design, documentation. This part, we didn't, we were concerned about it. The first 2, we had a little bit sorrows. First thing we did to break down this first problem is we just schemed out for each style, the power tool style, minimal style, what defines them and how can we break it up in terms of what defines the style, the color, typography, white space, roundness, the feel, overall feel, the photography and stuff like that. And we just write down what defines for a power tool brand the color. That's not correct. Color is not bold capital, but typography is. The colors is red, black, white, and gray. The white space, no white space for power tool styles, really cramped everything. While at the minimal style there is a lot of white space, no roundness and some roundness, dusty and manly feel, clean and neutral feel, photography the same. So what we did is we went to see what do we really need for each style to make that combination to keep the power tool feel, but also this minimal style. And what we came up with, and that's the second advice, don't overthink this. It's very simple to say that, and it's more maybe a too simplistic way to look at this problem, but it worked for us, so don't overthink. And what we did for Skill, they had, apart from the colors, I think the brand colors were red, black, and gray, and then the logo, I think this were the 2 only elements that were set in stone. And then this graphical element called the power stripe, and it's a really basic element. It's just the red shape, but it was quite important for them since it was like the perfect angle of a sawtooth in a circular saw and stuff like that. So that was the element we started with. And our design was this one, and what we did is we used this power stripe there on the top left in the navigation. And then for the rest, we really stick to this scheme we made. So we really made a combination between the power tool style and this very minimalistic style. So what you see immediately is lots of white space, still bold fonts, full caps fonts for the titles, but a little bit smaller, not that big, but a little bit more big. And then the most important thing that defines the feel on this website is the fact that we, for all product pages, and that's the most important pages for page for them, we always placed this cutout image on a white background at first, and then placed the more manly, dusty power tool images. So at first sight, you get this more like Polestar look and feel, but without losing the typical power tool style. So for the rest, really pured out, no unnecessary lines or shapes of stuff like that. Let's see another couple of pages. So again, really lots of white space, lots of pured out design. For the search, we really turned it upside down and worked on a darks mode for this one. And on mobile, it's built like this. So we really liked the end result. Skill was very happy, so we did the good job there. The third advice I can give you is, or what I use in my work, is think about results over the activities or the way to the result. I don't know who knows this kid, maybe? That's Luna Drouhard. It's a girl that was murdered in 2006, I think, together with her au pair Oulematu by Hans van Temps, I think here in Antwerp. And with the orchestra I was playing in, we decided 10 years after these events, we decided to play a requiem for her, called Requiem for Luna. And for me it was, I think the most difficult task or design I ever did, because it was very emotional, of course. The parents were involved as well, and there was a lot of stakeholders. The profit went to a charity, so there was money needed. It was a campaign that we launched that had to be some kind of commercial without the need of being too commercial because of the topic. And I was like thinking, mainly thinking, what can I do as a campaign visual to make sure I met all the requirements. The organization went really nervous because after 2 months I didn't show everything to them. And after 2 months I came up with this one. So they waited 2 months for a balloon that's made out of 4 shapes. And they, of course, were a little bit shocked because they thought I would come up with something more spectacular after 2 months. But at the end I can't convince them to go with this design. Because for me it felt totally right. We have the moon for Luna. It's a balloon that's leaving us. So it had the right integrity. It's not too dark. It's still playful, still hopeful. So for me it was okay, but maybe the road to it couldn't be more efficient or better. But I really was thinking with this end result in mind and not with the way to reach it. The organization was convinced in the end, but it was a risk. During these 2 months of thinking, I focused mainly on the end result. And in case my proposal failed, if they don't like it, it would fail big. You don't have the space to make errors, because it's okay to fail if you do the things in the conventional way. If you do a lot of checkups along the way, you have the room to fail because you have the time to adjust and stuff like that. If you just be silent for 2 months and then show them a balloon, it is a risk. So if it fails big. Fourth advice is to relativate yourself. Good is good enough. It's a thing that I think a lot about. Most of the times. This is a family planner. I have 2 kids, and when running a family, you need a lot of planning. Planning is key, so we started to search for a planner that we could put on the wall. We started searching and we found online this one. It's a whiteboard with an agenda with room for notes, room for to-dos, per kid rooms for lists and stuff like that. Endless possibilities in our eyes. It was perfect, but it didn't work at all. Why not? Because they foreseen so much room and space for things that nothing actually fit in. Because the 1 week I had 10 activities, my kid had non-activities, tried to fit it in here. The other week it was the other way around, so it was pure mess, pure chaotic. And I decided to make my own family planner. I thought half a year about my wife kept asking, are you going to make the planners? And I came up with this one. Voilà. And it worked this time because it's just a whiteboard with 5 days on it or 7 days on it. And it's super flexible if you can just write it. And I think 7 years by now it's hanging on the wall and we still use it. So the less design can be better, not the other way around. And sometimes just good is good enough. And this also applies when dealing with UX or UI problems sometimes. For instance, I attended a talk, I think 2 years ago, with my colleague Ott in Copenhagen, and there was this talk by Ayla Newhouse. She's an experience director at Nordea. It's a big bank in Scandinavia, or I think Denmark or Sweden. And she noticed that her design team had a lot of tasks, of course, but one of her main tasks was, like many others, she struggled to maintain consistency over different digital products. And her team was spending months a year on making sure that every blue button was the same blue button on iPad or on or a mobile app or a website, facing difficulties like working with decentralized teams, product offerings, different platforms, different technologies, stuff like that. You start to wonder in common things, why, how can we manage to look, to make sure that button A and button B are exactly the same, because you all see the difference. This is 24 pixels, rounded corners, this 32. The blue is different, this is more bold than this one, the icon is different. So a lot of problems. But then she discovered what time and effort are we putting in making sure to have consistent buttons or the perfect design system, stuff like that. And she started asking for who is this important? Of course, for themselves as a designer, this is really important. But they also started customers. And it turned out that for customers, it's important how they see the brand, how they feel the brand, but they all see just the blue button. They don't bother whether it's bold or semi-bold or 24 or 26 pixels. They don't care at all, they just see a blue button, and as long as it's the brand blue, sort of, it's okay. Good is good enough also on design systems. Don't chase perfection, it only costs a lot. Another example, good is good enough. This was 2 years ago, the campaign from Disneyland. Didn't make it, unfortunately, because it's pure genius, in my opinion. They were celebrating the 30th anniversary, and this was their campaign visual. And at the same time, Bobbe Jaanland released their new logo. It looked like this. So you clearly can see the difference in quality here. Reactions on this one were very bad. It was like everyone was laughing what a crappy logo they made. But in fact, I didn't bother that much because for me it was pretty perfect for what Bobbe Jaanland is. If you go to Disneyland looks like this, Bobbe Jaanland looks like this. So they don't pretend to be something different than what they are. They're just making a logo for what they are. And so I don't think it's a bad logo, it's just an honest logo. And good is good enough. So. Also, in terms of UX, if we get at Monkshot the question to build a dashboard for Van Sot, for instance, we didn't need to make the perfect dashboard or the most accessible dashboard on earth, an award-winning designs. It's just a dashboard. There are a lot of dashboards, so we don't bother that much. It's a good dashboard, and good is good enough. Fifth advice, learn from others. You work a lot with different people, different approaches. And I'm not the only one that thinks about getting things done faster or better. I once came up with this sketch or stage design for a concert, and it was built or meant to be built with 200 cubes, rectangular cubes, like 1 meter high, and they needed to be transparent. My budget, like always, was €1,000. And of course, I'm not alone building these stages. I have a building team that helps me. And one of the members of my team is this man, Albert. And together we built most of the stages I designed. Unfortunately, he passed away like 2 years ago. But he always had the most clever ideas to build things fast and easy and cheap. And this is how he made these 200 cubes. Let's play. It's pure genius, in my opinion. In like half a day, he built 200 cubes. And the stage, in the end, looked like this. So it's really cool, and even now when I'm designing stages or designing or building them, for a lot of problems, I think, how would Albert fix this problem? And I really learned from him in terms of getting things done easy and fast. Unizo, it's another brand we did a redesign for at Monkey Shot. Had a rebranding done by, I think, Today agency, and we did the digital translation for their website. And Today also, they did a rebranding mainly focused on print and stuff like that, but not so digital. But they added one sketch in their style guide, this sketch on how they could think a website could look. In fact, we really liked it, and we had a chance to completely redesign it. We really started with the sketch that Today had foreseen, because in our opinion, it matched perfectly the brand and was very good for us. And the first thing we did is we kept very close in touch with them alongside the project. So really we kept in touch. And we learned more about how they think about brand and design. I hope they learned from us on how to work with accessible colors and stuff like that. But it really ended up in a project, in a website that where you notice that the brand feel they intended is really pushed through this digital website. Unless it was made by two different agencies, you really see this consistency and this brand feel. The only thing needed here was clear communication, a lot of syncs and a lot of communication between two teams. And this is my last advice to make it all work, to be able to be lazy or smart, but mainly lazy. This is my last tip, communicate smart. Justify your choices. If you make choices in your head and you make them, if you make choices, make a balloon out of a circle and the moon, justify why you did it. Explain your thinking process. That's what I didn't do at school, for instance. Talk about what you didn't do and why you didn't do it. And this is the most important, explain first and show later. Never show your designs without explanation, because you need to, how can I say it? You need to prevent the need to defend your designs. You never need to be in the position to defend questions that you already thought about. So just make sure your explanation is fully correct, your thinking process is clear, and then show your design and be confident about your work. Open communication with the client is what convinced these people that working 2 months on a balloon is perfectly fine. And after I came up with the skill power brand navigation, I accidentally stumbled up this image. It's, sorry for the quality, but it's a retro box of skill. And I noticed they already used this power stripe navigation, didn't know at all. So I had a chance to use this image to convince them of this design choice and do some window dressing about my choices, but I didn't do it because I think open and honest communication is always better. And also, if it's not what you think is the best, and also if, open communication is best also, even if it's not what you think they want to hear or don't want to hear. Because design shouldn't pretend to be something it's not, and more effort doesn't mean better designs. And above all, I now spend my time doing what I like. If you do the things you want to do, you do them with less energy, with more ease and with less effort, not ending up like this. So a few years ago, my first school, and my kids' first school as well, asked me to design a new logo for them. And the first thing I did was try to convince them to stick with this logo, without success. So now they have a totally new brand, which is more colorful, more playful. And I turned an event that's not so happy in my memory to a more happy event. So voila. Thanks for listening. Go visit these sites, and that's it.
Thanks a lot, Roel. That's something I think we all sometimes need to hear. At least I have stakeholders who want to make things complicated, but as a lot of big people said, like simplicity is sometimes the biggest sophistication, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any questions for the audience, from the audience for Roel? Yes.
Hi, I really loved it. Thank you. Obvious question: do you use AI to be even lazier? And if so, how?
I don't. So maybe maybe it's a good way to be even more lazy, but in my opinion, I think you need to put a lot of effort. You noticed in the talk before, you need to put a lot of effort in getting to know AI. In my opinion, it is still in transition. We are not fully there yet to use AI to solve creative problems. I see my job as too creative to use AI as long as you're building dashboards that are already built 500 times. AI can be a solution, but I think about my job, it's more creative. And I don't think AI is already a solution to solve creative problems. I don't think AI can come up with a balloon like I did. So yeah, I didn't do the effort to get to know AI. And that's also why the word AI wasn't in my talk. So yeah.
It's derivative by design. AI is not you.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody else still? Yes.
Yeah. How often do you use Lorem Ipsum in your web design?
A lot, actually. Because, again, for me, it's, of course, something I mainly use when I'm doing digital design. And for me, the Lorem Ipsum, I rather spend my energy in the way things work and not in the content aspect. Because for us, when designing at Monkeyshot, the content part is mainly the part that we focus mainly on the functionality, on the how things work, on how things look. The only thing when we try to avoid to use Lorem Ipsum, for instance, in the skill project where the multi-language was really a thing that needs to be solved, because some languages are really long, some are really short. That's a case where we really choose to not use Lorem Ipsum but real text to make sure that all titles are usable and all titles are, or the problem is solved. So I think you can solve it by using Lorem Ipsum only. So
It's not work for UX UI design.
yeah.
Right. Yes.
Thank you so much. Do you delegate some works or some processes to your team members, for example, if you don't like to do something or you're limited with time, or you try to find the way how to do it fast?
You mean if I get a task that I just want to do it, just won't or don't like to do, or? Yeah, it depends. For me, I try to do things I like to do. Of course, as a volunteer or as in my freelance job, I have a little bit more space to choose what I do or don't do. And that's my main job as a UX UI designer. I don't have that room to play around with it. So, but I think it's for me it's mainly if you do what you like in general, and for me it's designing in all kind of design. It's really broad for me. I think for me, I'm comfortable enough to design, and that's why that's how I managed to do it with a lot or with really low energy. It don't ask energy for me. It gives me energy. So it gives also the room to sometimes do jobs that you don't like, or you feel like it's more useless or stuff like that. So, for instance, making portraits out of punctuation marks.
What if you, for example, limited with time? You have some other projects, for example, and you see that you just don't have time for something.
If I don't have the time to do something good, or
Just to do something. For example, you have 2-3 projects.
yeah.
In one go, and you see that you don't have enough capacity to focus on some of.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In that case, I am by getting used to do the main job of my work as late as possible in the project. I am someone that delivers most when the pressure is really high, because I'm used to it since school. I never started with tasks if I had 2 weeks of time. I really started when I have 2 hours of time.
Deadline junkie.
Yeah, deadline junkie. Of course, again, you can be free on how you do that. More in your volunteer work or in your freelance jobs where you have the freedom to do it, to work at night or to work in weekends and stuff like that. In your main job, it's of course more regulated and more difficult to do some free roaming there. You also have to do things with clients and stuff, so it's a little bit different there, but yeah. A deadline junkie is the right word, I think.
So it means you did the balloon in 2 hours then?
Hmm?
You did the balloon in 2 hours then?
I think I did it, the actual work, in I think 4 minutes, because in my head it was already, I saw in my head all during 2 months what I was gonna do and how I was gonna do it, and if it was right and if it was feeling right. And as soon as it was clear in my head, it was like 4 minutes to build it, present it, and so yeah, it's really easy to draw a circle and a moon. So.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Roel, for responding, and thanks for your talk. Then we are at the end of our talks, at least. We hope you still stick a bit around to have some last conversations. We are also wrapping up before the holidays. July is a month off, but we'll definitely be back. Currently, we're already coming back in September in Brussels, in UX Republic, and also back in Antwerp at ICAPS. But that's the future. For now, I wish you all still a great night, a great evening and some beers, and I wish you also very happy holidays. Thank you so much.